Hello everyone, welcome back to another video. So this will be the first of the many long form videos that I'll be doing to address various mathematical topics. And today I'm going to address a topic that most students have challenges with, ranging from grade 7 straight to grade 11. And this is a very fundamental topic as it relates to the CSEC exams, and I hope I'll address it today. And it is the issue between decimal places and significant figures. Most persons understand clearly what decimal places are, but significant figures is where most students have challenges. And today I hope I'll address both of them and you'll get the concept of both. So I'm going to start with the easier one first that students tend to understand, which is decimal places. And what are decimal places? So simply put, it's the number of digits to the right of the decimal point, or as other persons would suggest, it would be behind the decimal point. So for example, if you have a number 3.123, as you can see here, that the number of decimal places are the numbers that are to the right of the decimal point. This is the decimal point in the middle right there. Number of numbers, if we start to count, is 1, 2, 3. So in this case, we have 3 decimal places that are behind the point. Now, next thing that we're going to look at is the rounding. When we're talking about rounding, there are 2 things that you have to be aware of. First thing, what you're rounding to, and the indicator. So let me give you an example of what I mean. So for example, let's say I gave you the number 4.3456, and I told you that I want you to round it to 2 decimal places. All right. First of all, we need to understand where we're rounding to. And as you can see, it says 2 decimal places right there. 2 decimal places. If we count the number of decimal places, you'll notice that we'll have 1, 2, 3, 4 that are there. But we're only interested in 2. So we need to go to where 2 stops, which is at this 4. That's the first thing. The second thing is we need to check the indicator. The indicator is located right next to the digit that we're interested in. And since you're interested in the 4, which is at the second decimal place, our indicator now will be the 5, which is the next decimal place that is right there. So we always remember this rule from primary school, and it always applies to now in high school and even beyond, which states that if the number or if the indicator is greater than or equal to 5, that means we will round up. In this case, rounding up will mean that we will add 1 to our number that we're interested in, and it would be the 4. However, if it is less than 5, then we will round down. And in this case, rounding down will mean to cut off whatever else that was there. So in this example, we had 4.34. The indicator, which is 5, as we can see right there. Now that means the 4.3456 will now be rounded to 4.3. And then this 4 will change to a 5. Let me put it in black to show that we have rounded the number to 2 decimal places. So you have to be aware of that. But what if we wanted to do it to 3 decimal places? As you can see, we use the same principle again. We have 3 decimal places, and the third decimal place we have 5, which is right there. We already know where the 5 is. I'm use some eraser there. So the number now that we're interested in is the 5. Then we check the indicator now, which is the next number, the 6. Since that is greater than or equal to 5, we would round up the 5, which is what we're interested in. Hence, the number will now be 4.34, and the 5 will now change to 6. There you go. Now, we're going to check out the other aspect of why our students are afraid of this topic, and it is called significant figures. And I want to address this carefully so that students will understand it in its entirety. So significant figures now are basically the number of non-zero digits in the entire number. What do we mean by non-zero digits? So anything that's not a zero. Then, for example, if we had 3, let me get the writing tool. For example, if we had 3.145.8, well, I purposely didn't put any zeros that are there. It would be the number, so it's a total, so in the entire number that is there, let me even add something at the front, 13, find that. The number of significant figures here would be all of these numbers once they're not a zero. For example, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, right? So as you can see, this will have 6 significant figures. Now, let's look at another number now. For example, you have 0.043112. All right. So based on our definition here, it's the number of non-zero digits in the entire number. So as you can see, we have 0 here. So this 0 right here would be insignificant based on definition. Also, this 0 right here. However, this 4, which is the first one, and this 3, and this 1, and this 2, would end up showing the result of how many significant figures we have, which is, yes, you guessed it, 4 significant figures. Now, there's one thing I have to address. So now this is where students get confused. Students get confused about certain significant figures or certain zeros. And let me address that. And 0 can be significant, but you have to just check where it is. And the zeros are only significant if they're sandwiched between other non-zero numbers. So that is the only case where zeros would be considered significant. All right, so let me write that as the example. 0.420334. All right, so as you can see here, there's a 0 line in the middle. First of all, the 0 that is at the end would be considered as not significant in this case, given that it's not sandwiched between anybody at this point. However, this 0 right here, given that it is sandwiched between the 2 and the 3, which are both non-zero, that will make it significant. So let us count how many significant figures are there. So in this case, we have 1, 2. Now this 0 is significant, hence it will be the third one. This will be the fourth, and this will be the fifth significant figure. So this number has 5. Yes, very good. 5 significant figures. Now, we're going to be looking at the rounding principle once more so that you can understand. So when we're rounding to different significant figures. So now, just at the decimal placing, where you check the decimal point, or sorry, the decimal number that you're interested in, then you use the indicator to round up or down. The same principle that applies for significant figures, in which you have to check the significant figure now that you're interested in. Then you check the indicator, which is the next number. The next number is the number to the right, or the number that falls after that number you're interested in. So let us take an example. So for example, let's say I wanted you to round 5.6348.9. to two significant figures. All right. Now, first of all, we need to count, or we don't have to count, but just to make sure we understand the concept, we count the amount of significant figures that are there. So the first one, it will be the 5, then the 6, which is the second, the 3, then the 4, then the 5, and then the 9. So we have 6 significant figures in total. But what are we rounding to? 2 significant figures. So we're only interested in this 6. This 6 is the one that we're interested in. Now we need to check the indicator, which the indicator now will be the next number to the right, which is the 3. This 3 right here. Let me just say nothing so you're not confused. Now, the rounding principle states that if we're greater than or equal to 5, then we will round up. And if we're less than 5, we'd round down. Round down meaning cut it off, or if case B, round down. Now, we're going to be rounding this number. Let me just take a little space. Right? Back to my ink now. So as we can see, the number we're interested in is the 6, which is the second significant figure. So the answer would be 5 point, the 3 now, which is less than 5, meaning that we're going to, round down. And in this case, rounding down means to cut off. So the answer would be 5.6 to 2 significant figures. Nice, you're learning good so far. Now I'm going to tackle some more difficult ones so you can understand the concept more thoroughly. All right, so let's use up some more space. So for example, let's say we had the number 0.45109. And then I told you that I want you to round this number to 4 significant figures. 4 significant figures. Now, we need to first find out how much significant figures are there. Question, is this 0 significant at the front? That 0 right there. Yes, you guessed it, it's not. So since it's not, that means it won't be the first one. So the first one there would be, right, 4. So since it's a 4, we have the first one, the 5 is the second, 1 is the third, and then we have a next 0. Is this 0 now significant? And based on the definition, yes, because it is sandwiched between 2 non-zero digits. So in total, we have 5 significant figures. First of all, we are interested in the 0. So the number that's in the 4th position, which is a 0. And we're going to be using our indicator. The indicator in this case is the 9. Now, the 9, is it greater than or less than? Yes, you guessed it right. It's greater than or equal to 5, meaning we're going to round up. Then that means we're going to change or add 1 to the 0, which would make it 0.451, and you guessed it, 1. Let me just put it in black so you know what changed. Say 0.455. 4511. I'm sorry. Now, that is how you would round the number to 4 significant figures. I'm going to do one more just to make sure that you're up to speed with everything. So just bear with me. And let's take a look at this number now. The number is 143.31. That number right there. We need it to be 2 significant figures. All right, so I'm addressing most common mistakes that students make when they're rounding. So I'm going to take this number first of all. Let me add some space. Right. We want it to be to two significant figures. So let's count them. We have one, we have a second one, third, fourth, and the fifth. So what we're interested in, the number we're interested in is the 4. And our indicator in this case would be exactly the number to the right, which is the 3. Check the indicator. Is it greater than or equal to 5, or is it less than 5? And the answer is it is less than 5. So that means we will round down. So what students would do when they're rounding down, and this is a mistake they would make, and it is say the answer to two significant figures is 1/4. But we're concerned because there was a 3 that was there before the decimal point. So in this case, if you're rounding up or down, you need to consider all the numbers that were previously before the decimal place. In this case, it was a 3. And given that the 3 was there, indicating a round down, we need to place a 0. Remember, a 0 now is insignificant once it's at the end. So the only thing must happen is that the 0 must be sandwiched. So notice in your answer that we're having right here, we have 1, 2 significant figures. Same way, this 0 out here is not significant, but we still need it as a placeholder, given that the 3 that was there was before the decimal point. So I hope that you won't make this mistake again to place the answer as 1/4, which is 14. And as you can see, it makes more sense to say that to two significant figures, the answer is 140. And the number would be actually closer to the 143 than just having 14. Think about it for a minute and see if it makes sense to you. All right. Thank you so much for listening to this video. I am going to place some examples or some questions for you to do so that I can see if you're understanding the topic. I hope you do the questions and put them in the comments. Please to like this video and to share it with someone who might have not understood this topic before. Thank you very much, and I hope to make more videos soon. See you.